Hmm. Welcome to another edition of 42 Stories Anthology Presents. I'm your host, Bam, and today we have a special guest, one of the award winners of the book, Chris Burns. Welcome.
Hi, nice to be here.
So, the award in question uh, is one of your paranormal stories, but we'll get to that in a moment. I'd like to introduce Chris's bio from the award-winning story, which was under Alexi Kornikov. Kornikov's fiction has appeared in McSweeney's Internet Tendency, Flash Fiction Podcast, Another Chicago Magazine, Transfer Magazine, and others. He lives in San Francisco and has an MFA in creative writing from Mills College. You can find him at Chris_S_Burns and Chris-S-Burns.com. So let's welcome Chris or Alexi, whatever you prefer. Yeah.
I'm easy. I'll go with either. As long as you're happy to hear me, I'm here with any name.
Oh, and so speaking of names, as many people know, the book has 1,764 names, which is why you used a num to plum in this context. Why don't you tell the viewers what other names you use and for
Ooh,
which stories? We have a
I would
special.
love to. That is my dog helping out in this interview. Hang on just a second. Come here, relax. Awesome. And we're back. Sorry about that, everyone. I used Alexi Karnikov for this story. Being psychic is weirder than you'd expect. And I also am under William Carmichael for a humor story. This job is part-time and has no insurance. And my actual name, Chris S. Burns, for a story about the apocalypse, which those are always exciting. And that one's the donuts were good, but not that good. And always good to have a lot of names to choose from.
Yeah, so viewers can find you in three of the chapters and also in your work from your website. So that's great. Um, where are you located at the moment? I know I said San Francisco.
I am located in San Francisco, where I've lived for a long time. I live above a shop, so I'm located above whatever energy is going on in that store at that time, and it is always a different thing every day. So,
Uh, Chris, where's your writing space?
my apartment has a shared. It's an office slash guest bedroom slash storage room, etc. It's got a desk smashed into a corner, so I do most of my writing there. I'll also do writing kind of on lunch breaks at work and things like that. But the majority of my writing is just done kind of, it's scouts in a corner in my apartment.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you. In Japan, they kind of smash everything together. So my writing space is in a kitchen slash dining room slash entertainment area.
Yeah. And as long as you can get it done there, that's fine.
Yeah. So what are as an icebreaker question, what are some sweets you enjoy?
Ooh, good question. I like anything chocolate more than anything that's not chocolate. That is true for all food. If I could eat chocolate for dinner, I would. Chocolate chip cookies are always great, of course, but honestly, that's if it's made out of chocolate, I'm gonna like it. So
Yeah.
those are my favorite sweets.
There's some restaurants in Japan that would make your dreams come true. They like to specialize in every theme. So I'm sure you could find a chocolate restaurant here.
Sounds like a reason to move, if nothing else.
All right. What are some books that you like or authors who come out as like the powerful writers of the world to you?
Ooh, let me see. One of my favorite authors right now is Lindsay Ellis. She wrote the Numena series, and the third book just came out. So I'm really excited about that. Erin Morgenstern's The Night Circus is probably my favorite contemporary book. I love anything by Brian Francis Slattery. I found him really inspirational as a writer, or the sci-fi writer Max Berry, or Grady Hendrix's horror books. I like those a lot, and they're pretty prolific. So there's always something new there, which I like. But those are writers that I really love. I'm always recommending those to people, so they're on the top of my head.
I took note. Those are some good writers that I've been meaning to check out. Thanks.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Please do.
on that note, what did you read most recently?
Let me see. Most recently, I am in the third book of the Lindsay Ellis's series. This one's called The Apostles of Mercy, which I'm enjoying a lot. Halfway through, I just read. Let me see. I'm engaged to Mothman. Very excited for the sequel, which is coming out this year, where Mothman and the main character will be married. It'll be called A Married to Mothman. It's a really deep, serious fiction, as you can imagine. I also just read Trees in Paradise, A California History. It's literally a 500-page book about trees in California. I was really hoping I'd hate it in the first 20 pages. And it turned out to be really good, so I had to read it all the way through. And the only other book I've read recently that I really liked was The Peripheral by William Gibson, which I finished like a month ago. But it keeps sticking with me. I keep thinking about it. So those are my most recent loves.
So the peripherals just stayed in your peripheral. I've heard of that one
Yeah.
too.
It's a
Yeah.
sequel to another one he did, which also had a streaming show. So there's a lot of buzz around that. And he's just a writer that anything he does kind of gets picked up and famous automatically. But
Yeah. Excuse the random sound. I think after I said that pun, my desk threw something at me.
it's fair. You're in good company with me.
Yeah. What are the most drafts you've written for one of your stories? We're getting more into your writing now.
Oh, for my writing and my stories, I couldn't count that high if I had to. I draft more than I write, I think. I could never have been a writer in a time where people were using like quills. It just wouldn't have worked for me.
Yeah.
So I'll write a story and draft over and over and over again. Even of a short professional story that I'm putting out, a 20 would be a low number.
Those quill writers, they were paid by the word too. So
Yeah.
they,
Couldn't do
they
it. Couldn't do it. I really like drafting. I find a lot of reward in kind of drafting and perfecting and kind of working on things and churning through them again and again. Like the writing part, that's easy and I love it, but I think I find more a more sense of accomplishment in drafting, if that makes sense.
yeah, definitely. Well, with that said, after all that drafting, how do you handle rejection?
Yeah, weirdly, I just don't. I'm unbothered by it. I think having maybe been in kind of school, like I was a writing major the first time through college, and there's just no real room for thin skin there, and you get used to rejection. Uh, I just assume that it was a bad fit and it had nothing to do with me, and I don't take it personal and I move on, and then I just submit to something else. So when I get a rejection, I just note that I got it on like, oh, that story got rejected by that person, so don't bother them again, and think about the next one.
Hmm.
There's a handful where it was like something that I really wanted or really cared about that stung a bit, but generally I just go, okay, that's their loss. It's fine.
Yeah, I think handling it that way is probably best, and just laughing it off or improving the writing, and then sending it somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that, how do you handle or how do you celebrate acceptance?
That I give a lot of focus to because that's, obviously way more fun. Generally, there's a writer or two that I work with that I'm really close with, and I'll let them know right away. And we always let each other know of our successes. So I'll send a text or a quick phone call to get that behind me. And then, depending on the day of the week or what's going on, I might, open up a nice bottle of something and kind of have a celebratory shot just to mark the moment. And after that, depending on what it is and where it's going to be, I do kind of like I write, social media. I got this story. It's going to be published in this thing. And that feels very celebratory and rewarding. But the actual moment is just letting people know so that it's not just in my head that I can have somebody to celebrate with. And then, yeah, I might have a shot or my wife and I might go to the bar and get a quick drink and then go do whatever we were going to do anyway. Just something to mark the occasion.
Yeah, that's a great idea to let writer friends know. I never actually thought about that. Where if you let them know directly instead of just posting it on social media, then they can respond. And maybe they don't see your post on social media. And if you message them or text them, then they definitely know. So if they don't read it, then you can be mad at them fairly. You can
Yeah. How dare they not read it?
yeah, you send it to them directly. So that's great advice that I'm gonna remember. Thanks.
And by
Uh,
this point, they probably would have read the story already. So it's always like you can read the final version, after I ignored half your edits. That's always fun too.
yeah. How can people find you on social media?
Ooh, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Chris_S_Burns. And I am on my website's the easiest way. www.chris-s-burns.com, which is a mouthful, but there's way too many Chris Burnses out there. And it was the best I could do. So that has my social media connected through it, and anything new I publish, anything that's kind of out there, I always kind of note that on that webpage. But Instagram and Twitter are the easiest ways for sure.
Well, I don't know if it's just searching or what, but when typing Chris S. Burns author, you come up first. So
I appreciate that. The S helps a lot.
yeah.
I don't mind using a middle initial, but I found it's really required. There's even another or two. There's a journalist who's named Chris Burns, so there are other people that will come up, but I don't think there's any other fiction writers, so that's convenient.
Well, as
I'd have
we've
to change my name permanently otherwise.
yeah, there's even two Alexis in the book. So as we've seen, that happens at
I can't
names.
get away from it. I've never been the first Chris Burns at anything. Even like if I apply for a library card, there's always someone else. Like any school I've been to, I've been at least the second. So it's just what it is.
Oh, well, I think you're the first Chris Burns to win an award for the book, so you could hold that one.
And I will. I'm hanging on to it.
All right. So that said, I wanted to thank you in a bunch of languages and thanking the viewers as well. I hope that they check out your work. Thank you for coming today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And to all the readers out there, I hope this book is great for you. It's great for all of us. So we love it.